This is the New American Media.
Broadcasting to you, live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2014. It's a brave new world, ain't it? What's your New Year's resolution? I don't know. It's a sports show, so what is it? It's going to be to root for your favorite team to win. I don't know. I mean, what do you resolve to do as a sports fan? I mean, I guess if you're in the NFL and you're a sports fan, you're resolving to save some money. What is it? Green Bay? What is it? The Packers, the Colts, the Bengals? They're all having trouble selling out. You know, you got to worry about getting home. You got to go pay like $36.50 for a 12-ounce beer. You know, fight with idiots on StubHub for $200 tickets. Battle the elements. I guess not in Indy, but all those other places. What is your resolution? Have you been keeping it? Let's just say since it's a sports show. Let's say you're trying to get in better shape. How you doing with that? You're a few days in. It's the 3rd. It's Friday the 3rd. My name's Brian Engelman. This is the Unhappy Hour. Welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us. Real quick, if you're not following us in all of the mediums which we communicate, you're missing out because there's a whole lot of information that we send out different platforms. So here they are, thenewamericanmedia.com. Check it out. Just check it out. That's been our flagship for 2.5 years. youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Click subscribe. Where are we at? I don't know, 150,000 video views and 600, almost 700 subscribers. It seems like just yesterday we hit 150,000 and 500 subscribers, so thanks to everybody. On Facebook, search The New American Media with spaces in between and like our page. Lots of different information on various mediums, and on Twitter, we're at American_media_resolution. Okay, the Cavs' resolution is to get rid of Andrew Bynum and get value in return. You heard the Lakers rumors. We're going to bring an NBA scout, Zak Baris, to talk with us about that. What are they saying? The Lakers, the Bulls, an unspecified third team. You know, that's one thing. The Cavs have an owner willing to take on salary. And that in the NBA, that's a great way to grab talent. You know, you take in the bad contracts, and hell, that's how the Cavs got Kyrie Irving, trading away Baron Davis and getting a high draft pick. Anyway, that's one good thing if you're a Cavs in the Cavs front office. You made a resolution to get rid of Andrew Bynum and get value in return. The Indians, I really don't know, man. They're not really being aggressive in free agency, although with the lack of success for some of the high-profile contracts lately, I don't necessarily blame them. The Browns, make a resolution to, stop paying head coaches that don't work for you. I mean, come on. Oh, this Chudzinski thing has got me bothered. So let's just get into all of this. I'm not even saying I'm a Chudzinski fan, or I'm not, but it takes time. And if you hired him last year and you made the wrong decision, shouldn't the team GM and president go because they made the wrong decision? Don't you clean the entire house? Why are you trusting those guys ahead of the... I wasn't behind the scenes, but it's not making a lot of sense. How do you trade your number one running back and then blame the guy for no running game? Okay, that seems fair. Anyway, let's get Zach into the program. We're going to split this up. The Ohio State Buckeyes are going to resolve to start a new winning streak. How about that? I'm okay with that. But we'll get Zach on the horn. We'll talk about all these things.
Hey.
Hey, Zach. Welcome to the Unhappy Hour. How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right. Bearing through the cold for one last day before I head out to Vegas tomorrow. So, trying to get through it.
Are you going to be in Vegas for long?
For a week.
Huh. Interesting. We're going to have to talk off air. We'll talk off
Till
air.
the 11th. Till the 11th. 4th to the 11th.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk off air. Absolutely. Well, Zach, welcome back to the program. As I told people, you are a lifelong Cleveland sports fan, NBA scout, and today I got 3 topics to talk about. Obviously, all things NBA, including what's going on with Bynum, Where are the trade rumors at right now? We heard the talks of the Lakers stalled. Then I want to talk a little bit just about the Browns debacle and firing Chudzinski and, bailing after 1 year and paying him how many years now to not coach, the wisdom there. And then maybe just a little bit of thoughts on the Buckeye season as they hope to start a new winning streak. So let's pick it up with the NBA. Let's start with the Cavs, and we'll spiral our way outward there. What is going on with Andrew Bynum where he's no value to the team anymore and people only want him to cut his contract?
The question is, what isn't going on with Andrew Bynum now at this point? I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's escalated into just such a debacle, and I think it's the nicest way to put it with this team. Is this just all over? It's not just even Andrew Bynum. This whole organization's a mess from top to bottom. You have guys like Kyrie Irving, Jarrett Jack, all these guys, Dion Waiters, even on the fast break. I've never seen a team more inept on the fast break in my life. They failed to convert on almost every single fast break opportunity on a 2-on-1. I've never seen anything happen like that. And it's just because of selfish basketball. This is a team that hasn't played well together all season. Andrew Bynum, just as he's starting to play, he's starting to play better. He has a couple of off games, really bad games. But Brown benches him in the third quarter of the Atlanta Hawks game last week you didn't hear any explanation about it, but they didn't play in the fourth quarter or double overtime. I think he was upset, went into Brown's office, basically demanded an explanation. Brown told him his playing time was going to be cut. And it escalated to a point where Andrew Bynum was suspended indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team, and he will never play in a Cavaliers uniform again.
Okay, so the conduct that was detrimental was going to the coach privately and saying, "Coach, what's up?"
I don't know exactly what it was. I just can't speculate on anything because I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know.
Well, none of us are getting answers. None of us are getting answers.
Well, I've heard a Delonte thing too, and I'm saying that's doubtful. I really don't believe that story at all.
Hold on. The Delonte with from 3 years ago.
That kind of thing. It was. I don't even want to bring it up because I already went too far there. But
there was something detrimental, like something additional, causing acrimony among players, extracurricular activities, we could say.
Yes, you could say that.
Okay.
And it got to the point where people have been asking me about it, and I said I just don't know anything, nor do I believe it's true. I mean, if it is, it is. But for right now, I'm going to go on the side and say against it. But the Cavaliers are just a mess. I don't think Pao Gasol really helps this team that much. Obviously, he's good in the pick and roll, but this is a really, really terrible basketball team where none of their draft picks have panned out other than Kyrie Irving and partially Tristan Thompson. Their last 4 draft picks have just been downright awful, and the reason I say Dion Waiters is not downright awful, but the fact that they passed on Andre Drummond, they've passed on players that are better than Dion Waiters. And I'm not saying Dion Waiters isn't a good player. He just isn't a fit with this team with Kyrie Irving. He just isn't. They don't play well together when they're on the court. And so therefore it was a mistake drafting Dion Waiters where they drafted him at 4. And then you had Tyler Zeller, who, in my opinion, is one of the worst backups in the league. I don't think he provides any value to the team. Then I look at Anthony Bennett this year, and I'm saying he might be the worst number 1 overall pick of all time. The guy doesn't even belong in an NBA uniform, and the way I'm looking at him now is, from what I'm seeing, is I don't even know if the Cavaliers will renew him after next season. Wow. I think he'll get 1 more year for sure, but if he keeps playing like this, he's done. I mean, I've just never seen someone so bad. He really has been, Karasev has provided absolutely nothing to this team so far. So you're looking at 4 picks in a row by Chris Grant. And this team, I'm telling you right now, if they stick to their gun and they stick to what they should be doing, they're going to have a top 5 pick in next year's draft. And if I'm Dan Gilbert, do I trust Chris Grant to go in there and make the right decision? When you have, let's say the Cavaliers land the number 1 overall, 2 overall pick. You're looking at guys, Julius Randle, Jabari Parker, Marcus Smart, Dante Exum, Andrew Wiggins, and the list goes on. If it were me, would I trust Chris Grant to make the right pick in that situation? No, not at all.
But if you don't trust him, then doesn't he need to be replaced?
I think he needs to be replaced. I don't even know if I give him the green light to make a trade. Some of his trades have been good for draft picks, but otherwise, he hasn't capitalized on any of those picks, though, other than the Kyrie Irving one, which I can tell you 29 other GMs in the league would have made that move, too. Nobody was going to take Derrick Williams number 1 overall. Nobody was going to do it.
No, not over Kyrie.
Kyrie, no matter what. Even Minnesota would have picked Kyrie Irving number 1 overall.
And Kyrie played in what? He played in what? 1 game at Duke?
No, he played in like 10.
Well, 9 or 10.
I was at the game against Arizona. I remember going nuts. I mean, he was the only player in Duke that did anything that game. He put up almost 30 points, and they lost Arizona by like 30. But he was the only one who was doing well for Duke that game. Arizona seems to own Duke, but
let me ask about Kyrie real quick, because Dion isn't a great fit for Kyrie, and the team doesn't have chemistry, and they can't convert fast breaks, and they're selfish.
For Kyrie Irving.
Well, is Kyrie a selfish ball hog that has the Showtime attitude without the skill set of LeBron to back it up, and he's constantly injured? I mean, is Kyrie the problem? Is he the best thing Cleveland Cavaliers have going for him and the worst thing at the same time?
I mean, right now, the problem is he's never had anyone to play with. He doesn't have any trust in his teammates, nor should he have any trust in his teammates. If I'm Kyrie, I'm sitting there going, who do I want to give the ball to? It's certainly not going to be Earl Clark. Jared Jack hasn't played very well. Every free agent signing Chris Grant's had this year has been a bust. I was wrong on the Jackson. I thought he was a little overvalued, but I thought it was a good signing for a team for long term. Thought it was a very good move, but I'm not the one signing the contract. It was a bad move.
But wasn't Bynum was a good deal? We knew what we were getting.
I'm still saying I'm going to stick to the Bynum deal and say it was a good deal, because the Cavaliers, they lose nothing by making that signing.
I love when $6 million is nothing, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things,
it's true. In this scheme, and looking in the scheme of things, it's nothing for Dan Gilbert. He doesn't care. He'll eat the money. It could have been a huge value signing for the Cavaliers if Bynum would have been back to his old self, not the attitude, but if he would have just been back to his old self players, he would have made a much bigger contribution to this team, and it would have been incredibly valuable at $12 million a year, but he just isn't. He's not the same player. He still has the attitude problems he's had for the last few years. That's always caused him his troubles. It just seems like he doesn't care about the game, and that's something that's down another path. But
was he legitimately talking about retirement, though? Because that was some of the stories. I need a day or two away.
Here's something you have to understand about tall people, and this is I've gone through this with a lot of kids. A lot of these tall kids don't necessarily love the game of basketball. They're pushed into it because they go, this is how you're going to make your money. You can make millions of dollars being an NBA player someday, or you're going to get a free college scholarship to go play college basketball. And these kids agree. I've seen tons of big men that shouldn't be in the NBA. I'm not saying Bynum was a hell of a player in his day. He's very talented. But if your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it. You're not going to go the extra mile to be the greatest player, because if you just don't want it, it's not there. Look at a guy like LeBron. LeBron trained and still trains for hours on end. He perfects everything in the offseason, which he made a mistake on the season before. He's in the gym constantly. Derrick Rose, same type of thing. And these guys, Andrew Bynum just isn't. If your heart's not in it, it's not in it. And if you don't want to improve, you're not going to. And Bynum obviously just never cared enough to make an attitude adjustment. It wasn't in his alley, and he didn't want to do it.
Okay, and whatever rumors we're hearing backstage, Kyrie comes out with a phantom broken nose, and the other rumors that we have with Bynum, it's just a team. Let's talk about what we do now. Now that Bynum's on the trading block, break down the details of why people want to take on Andrew Bynum only to cut him. I've been reading about it.
Teams in the luxury tax you're looking at are Chicago, because Derrick Rose is injured, and they didn't re-sign Bellinelli, and they didn't re-sign Nate Robinson, so they lost the majority. They lost basically their backcourt from last season. They did. They lost their backcourt from last season. And with Derrick Rose being out, obviously Derrick Rose they thought could replace Derrick Rose and Mike Dunleavy could replace Bellinelli and Nate Robinson. Well, Rose is out for the year, and Dunleavy, while has played well, it just hasn't worked out exactly. Chicago's a completely different team than they were a year ago. So looking back on it,
well, they are a completely different team, but they're still without Derrick Rose, which is kind of what we're getting used to at this point.
But yeah, exactly. But last year it was a team that fought. They're still fighting. It just isn't there. They don't have the score. So let's just leave it at that with Chicago. But you look at other teams and you say, okay, a team like the Lakers, they do not want to be repeat offenders in the luxury tax. They don't want to keep paying the extra money. So what they could do is trade Pau Gasol, get his $19 million off the books. I think he has probably 13 left for the year. And they could take Bynum, and Bynum is his contract. You can option not renew it. So you're pulling an extra. You're pulling all that $13 million off the books by just not renewing Bynum since it's a mid-season deal. So you're doing that, and then the Lakers get under the cap. They're not under the cap, but they're saving. I don't know if it's like $30 million or high 20s, $30 million to save against the cap from this season, and it would also prevent them from going higher in the next season in the luxury tax too. So it benefits them greatly because I personally think it's a deal. If I were the Lakers, I make it. If I'm the Cavaliers, I don't even know at this point if I make it. For a 33-year-old Gasol that's aging, he's overweight, he's not having a great season. Yeah, he's good in the pick and roll, but is it really beneficial to the Cavaliers to go in there and win 34 to 36 games this season and get the 8th seed in the playoffs where they get eliminated in 4 games by Indiana, Miami? Is it worth it at that point? It's not going to convince LeBron James to come back to Cleveland. You're better off tanking the rest of the season, letting Earl Clark walk at the end of the year, getting rid of Bynum now. Who cares if he goes to the Heat? I don't think he is anyways. I tend to think he goes to the LA Clippers. The Heat already have enough to worry about with Greg Oden on their shelf. So I just don't see another injured center going down.
Yeah, how's the Greg Oden experiment working out for Miami?
Not too well.
Well,
he hasn't even played a game. He played 2 minutes in the preseason, if that. I think it was a minute or two. So I'm going here and I'm looking at it. He's a good fit. He wants to return to Los Angeles. I see the Clippers working out the best for him. But I don't know if the Clippers want him necessarily.
Or if they have the assets.
I don't know if anyone wants them. And I look at the Cavs roster, just let Earl Clark go at the end of the year. There's no reason to have to give him an asset. The Cavaliers are better off. Your pitch to LeBron James can be next season if you're still trying to lure him back. Because like I said at the beginning of the year, I definitely thought he was coming back. I tend to think less and less every day, but part of me still thinks if Miami doesn't win, he comes back. Part of me thinks even if Miami wins, he comes back. I go through this. I shuffle through this. I talk with different people every day. I talk with different writers. I talk with different NBA personnel. A lot of people still do think he's coming back. I kind of soured on it a little bit because I didn't think the Cavaliers season could be this disastrous. I really didn't.
This is a train wreck. This reminds me of the Obamacare rollout. Despite I don't know about this personnel move, I don't know about that personnel move. The similarities between the rollout of Obamacare and this Cleveland Cavaliers season, they've just been total train wrecks. The wheels have fallen off. They're just disasters.
But looking on it and letting LeBron come in here and fix the situation, what he did the first time around, when they went from being a 17-win ball club to 3 years later being in the NBA Finals. In 2007, they were in the NBA Finals.
Does he want to wait 2 years of doing nothing?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it would wait. I don't even know if it would do that. So here's what you do is you get rid of the missing pieces. Maybe you explore trading waiters in the offseason. You let LeBron come in there, and this is if I'm Dan Gilbert, this is what I do. I say, listen, you can have a say in who your general managers, you can have a say in who your coach is at this point. We're willing to do anything. Obviously, what I've done hasn't worked. I'm sitting there on my feet kissing LeBron. I'm sitting there on my knees kissing LeBron's feet if I'm Dan Gilbert at this point and saying, listen, it's up to you now. You can save the city on your own. You can have a say in the coaching hire, say in the GM, and you can have even a partial say in roster moves, which means whoever you want in this draft, let's say we have a top 3 pick, bring them in.
You pick. Yeah.
You want to take
LeBron.
Dante Exum from Australia? Bring him in. You want Julius Randle to play with you and Kyrie? Bring him in.
Hold on. Has there ever been a player GM at the same time? Like Pete Rose is a player
always
manager?
been players who have had say in roster personnel moves. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant has always had say in his personnel moves. Kobe Bryant was the one who dictated multiple trades for that team for LA.
He's the one that ran Shaq out of town, right?
Trust me when I say that. Kobe Bryant has definitely had say in the Lakers personnel moves.
Well, wasn't he the one that ran Shaq out of town?
Yeah, he's also he's also the one that brought Gasol to town too. He's also the one that initially brought Chris Paul to town, and then that one failed because it was deemed an unfair trade by the league office.
That is crazy. That's
right.
Kobe's
had say. Chris Paul has basically ultimate say over the Clippers roster too. Chris Paul had a say in getting Doc Rivers there this offseason. Players do have say in their team. There are players who do have say in what they want for their team.
So they don't need the official title of GM by any stretch. It is
no.
what it is.
But a team will always go and sit there and deny it. But it's obvious. You can tell which players are dictating their team's moves. Not necessarily dictating, giving their opinion on what a team should do in order to improve their team. Because teams will always cater to their superstars, and teams that don't don't re-sign their superstars. I still tend to think I'm on the point now where I've said maybe that Carmelo Anthony, I've been saying this for a while now, the only cities who'd ever leave New York for were Chicago and L.A., and everybody dismissed the Chicago thing a lot, all the time. Carmelo now, I tend to think there's a decent chance he winds up on Chicago next year. It just seems too perfect of a fit for him.
He gets to opt out after this year?
Yeah, and imagine Rose with another scorer. The Bulls will be deadly. Imagine putting Butler back in his role, getting rid of Boozer and having Gibson in the front court with Noah. That could be a dominant team with 2 prolific scorers and 3 unbelievable role players. I don't mean Jokic Noah is just a role player. He's an all-star center. But imagine having Noah cleaning up the glass, Gibson doing what he does best. Gibson was signed for $10 million a year, about $10 million, a little less than that. But Gibson was signed for around that. That's not a backup right there. You do not sign backups for $8 to $10 million a year in the NBA.
Well, you know what? Carmelo was kind of one of those players in that up-and-coming class of NBA draft picks. He kind of went and did his own thing. He signed different length deals. He didn't do what D Wade and LeBron did. Could you see a LeBron and Carmelo team up?
No way. No way in hell. Never happening. I'm willing to bet on it. Unless it's Team USA, it's not happening.
Why is that?
They play the same position. And Carmelo, I mean, who knows? Carmelo could always start to care about winning now more than he does. Carmelo could start to care more about winning than he does his scoring titles and everything. I think that's what's most important to him at this point. I think he wants to live down a legacy, not just being a guy who put up 30 points a game throughout his career. Look where it got Allen Iverson. Everybody looks at him and says, oh, he's a great player, but the guy still doesn't have a ring. Carmelo goes to Chicago. Ultimately, the Bulls get their second scorer. Boom, it's in place right there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think it's I think it is highly likely that it could happen. I think there's also a chance he somehow winds up with the Clippers in a deal there. I think the Clippers are way more likely than the Lakers at this point. Because who wants to play with an aging Kobe Bryant that can't stay healthy and is signed for a boatload of money over the next few years?
I know Kobe and Derrick Rose are kind of matching each other injury for injury at this point.
Yeah, but Rose is in his mid-20s. Kobe's almost in his mid-30s. There's a difference. Derrick was a freak injury. There was 2 freak injuries in a row. It really was. It was the opposite knee. It wasn't the same knee.
I'd say a broken knee is kind of, I don't really hear about that quite often either.
So it is what it is. I mean, but Kobe, it's a lot harder to recover when you're 33 compared to 25.
Absolutely.
And the Bulls also have a much better foundation in place than the LA Lakers do. The Lakers don't have anything close to a Joakim Noah or a Taj Gibson or a Jimmy Butler on their roster. They don't. The Lakers have Nick Young. They have a bunch of retreads around the league. That's the thing, along with Kobe Bryant at this point and Pao Gasol. But Pao's gone after the year. And if you're the Cavaliers looking at this point, you get rid of Clark, you get rid of Bynum, you can always make a trade. And then you're bringing in LeBron. LeBron can bring in another NBA player if he wants to team up with him and Kyrie and a top 3 pick. I think that if LeBron has say in the organization, I think it's something he'll definitely cater to. Now, I don't know if Gilbert's willing to give up control because Dan Gilbert is Dan Gilbert. I'm starting to question everything, and it's now looking like the Dolans are the best owners in Cleveland.
Certainly the Jimmy Haslam thing doesn't have me really happy. I didn't get a chance to comment on it, and I'm going to in a second. I've been storing
we'll move
this
to there
up
in a minute, but when we're done with the Cavaliers. But
yeah.
I'm saying that Cleveland, Dan Gilbert really has not done anything right with his team. It now seems like it's been a bunch of empty promises. That the fans are just being told, be patient. Okay, now we're going to go this year. We're going to dominate. We're going to be a top 3 team in the East. We spent all this money.
It's empty. It's empty promises in Comic Sans
It's the same
font.
thing with Phase 2 of the casino. I mean, it was supposed to be. Look at Cleveland. They've got the Higbee building, which is gorgeous, but Phase 2 was supposed to be ready now. And then I just see on Twitter all the time, oh, it'll be there soon. I'll wait till 2020 when I see it.
2020. Well, I know from home renovations, I had to go through a bunch of it last year. You can always budget about 30 to 40% over time frame and over budget. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm well aware of that. But,
I know.
But looking at it, I mean, Gilbert, yeah, he renovated the arena, but since LeBron's left town, they've had absolutely no success. They went back to what didn't work the first time in Mike Brown. Like I said, I never loved the hiring. I never really understood it. But I thought it could work with the roster they had in place. Earl Clark had a good year last year, a very good year last year. A rehabilitated Bynum, I thought, could help. Another year for Kyrie, another year for Dion, another year for Tristan, all those guys, a healthy Andy. And it just never got it going. They really just didn't. And it's a shame, but in the fact that this is better to have them like this be one of the 4 worst teams in the league than it is for them to be the 8th seed playoff in a horrible Eastern Conference. And I'm telling you that I'm being as sincere as I can be. If I were a Cavs fan, I would tell you they're better off being in the basement, landing the superstar, just in case the fact that LeBron doesn't come back, that they can still compete in the future. Because I can tell you right now that guys like Parker, Randall, Wiggins, Smart, Exum, they have the potential to be stars. Aaron Gordon, they really do. And if the Cavaliers can, hopefully land one of them, then they'll be in good shape. But if Chris Grant's making the decisions, I don't know how much I trust it. And who knows if he's going to come out there with a wild card and take, Willie Cauley-Stein from Kentucky with the 5th pick or 3rd pick. I never know what to think with Chris Grant. He's the most unpredictable guy in the league. He's a strict analytics guy, not my cup of tea with the analytics. But
well, Cleveland right now they're only the 8th worst team in the league. They're right on the border there. They're 2 games out of a playoff spot, but they're not the worst team in the league. They, have a.
They'll be down there. Trust me. With the way they're playing, they're a team that's falling apart right now. I do not expect if Dan Gilbert, if Chris Grant goes, Mike Brown goes with him.
I didn't understand the Mike Brown thing either. It's a sinking
ship right now. And I'm not usually in favor, especially in football, I'm never in favor of firing a coach after a year. In basketball, it is what it is. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Football, I actually would have been happy firing Pat Shurmur after a year. He stunk. I would have been happy for the Browns to fire him after a year. They kept him a year too long. But transitioning over to the Browns now, getting rid of Szczynski, I can't tell you if it's a mistake or not.
Hold on. Let's do this. Let me hit reset. We're going to split this in post-production. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Browns. If you're not following Zach on Twitter, you got to follow him. He's at Zbaris. That's Zbaris. Any final quick hits on anything basketball or NBA before we bounce over to this Cleveland Browns debacle?
I'm good.
Well, if you're good, I'm good. Real quick, make sure you check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Subscribe to us, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_ and search The New American Media on Facebook with spaces in between. And like our page, my name's Brian Engelman. You're listening to the Unhappy Hour. On today, this is the Orange Bowl day where the Buckeyes are going to hopefully smoke Clemson. And we're going to come back on the other side. And before we get to the Buckeyes, we're going to talk about this Cleveland Browns debacle. I love the phrase that a reporter asked about who is running the franchise. We'll talk about it when we come back on the other side.
You are listening to The New American Media.